everybody, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. And tonight's program is all about how to sell yourself. Now, many people have so many good qualities and skills, but can't get ahead in life because they don't know how to sell themselves and show people what they're really made of. And this can lead to them feeling frustrated and even to lose their confidence. So the aim of tonight's show is to help you bring out your very best. My guest tonight, Alexia Leachman, who's a personal branding expert, and she'll be speaking about how to find your mojo. And we also have our resident guest, Justin Basini, who'll be talking about marketing yourself at work, and Chris Brown with the Self-Development Clinic later on in the show. So if you want to get involved, you can of course email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv, or you can tweet Chrissy B Show as well. So let's first of all talk to our first guest, and that's Alexia. Hi.
Hi Chrissy, how
are you?
I'm fab, thank you.
So lovely to see you here.
Yeah.
Now you've got a big smile on your face because you are quite a happy, confident person.
Yes.
What do you actually do?
I help people to find their mojo, so that's why I kind of give myself the name Mojo Hunter, but other people might describe that as maybe being a personal brand coach to help people to find what their personal brand is.
What is mojo?
Mojo, well, I think it's one of those things that's a little bit elusive. You know when you haven't got it, but if you had to try and find it, you wouldn't really know what you're looking for. But when you're on fire, when you feel like you're happy, you've got direction in life, you've got momentum, you feel like you're doing something that really makes you enjoy life, then you've got your mojo, So I help people to find that in themselves and to really start enjoying life again.
Now you're actually talking from experience, aren't you? Because you're not just here sort of talking theory, because you actually went through something quite bad in your life, didn't you? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I lost my mum quite quickly and quite tragically about 6 or 7 years ago, and the result of that was me just totally losing sight of who I was and disconnecting from what I was about and what I wanted. And so I went from being somebody that on the outside looked very successful, doing a good job, to really
Were you happy at that point, would you say?
I was before she died, but when she did, I totally spun out of control and must have sort of slipped into depression and all that kind of stuff. And it was really hard. And for me, I guess back then, I look back and think, yeah, I lost my mojo big style. So I had to find it again. So that journey, what did I do to try and find it? I tried everything, and what I do now is I sort of bring everything I learned together and help people to find it quicker than I did by allowing them to tap into my experience and not make the same mistakes I did.
Now, what kind of thoughts used to go through your mind when you were going through that period?
I don't know. And that was it. You'd ask me anything and I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what would make me happy. I didn't know what to do that day. I just didn't know. And sometimes I would just curl up and I didn't want to leave the house. And
how long were you in that
probably
situation?
around, I'd say about 2 years. 2 years.
That's a long time to be going through that.
But in that time there were some highs and lows, and I was really trying to sort myself out. I wasn't sitting around wallowing in it. I was really like, this has got to change, So I was sort of trying this, trying that, and some stuff worked and some stuff didn't. And what I help with my clients now is helping pass on the things that really, really work for me.
So during that period when you were going through this, did you feel at any point like giving up, or did you feel like, maybe things aren't going to change? Did you ever go through those kind of moments?
No, because I knew that I was going to sort this out. I just knew it. And a crunch time for me came when I had an opportunity. I was told to just go travelling for a couple of weeks, and I love travelling.
On your own? Did you go by yourself?
Well, I didn't go. Because
you didn't?
I didn't, and that's when I realised I needed to sort this out, because I couldn't face the idea of being with myself. And I was like, you know what, this has got to stop. So that's when I really went for it and just sorted it out.
Okay, so tell us about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
So what I do on a day-to-day basis, I help people to find out what it is about themselves that they can sell, what they can to get more of what they want. So for some people it might be earning more money, for some people it might be to sell their book, for some people it might be just to get that promotion at work. For everybody there's going to be a different sort of goal or ambition that is going to represent success for them in life. So whatever that might be for them, I help them to influence others so that they get more of what they want.
Can you tell us a bit about a few tips, or how you actually go about doing that?
Well, the first thing I do is I help people to figure out who they are, because if you're trying to sell yourself, because let's be clear, we're always selling ourselves. Whether or not you're trying to persuade somebody around to your way of thinking, if you're trying to persuade all your mates to go to the cinema with you, you're selling an idea to them as to whether or not they're going to come on board with you. So if you have to sell something, you have to know what you're selling. So the first thing you have to do is know who you are. So the first thing I do with people is I help them to discover who they are, what their strengths are, what their values are, what makes them awesome. Why should somebody choose you over somebody else? If you can't answer that question, then you're not going to do a very good job of selling yourself.
I think a lot of people, whether they've even if they haven't been through like a traumatic experience or something that bad happened to them, people don't generally have that confidence to actually say sell themselves. And I don't know if it's just something, a British thing, that maybe people don't like, in a sense, they think it's like boasting about themselves. They don't really like to, you know, talk about their strengths, what they're good at. But, you know, I think they have a lot of skills and a lot of things to offer, but they just either don't know what it is, or they just don't like expressing it for some reason.
I think the lack of awareness is a huge thing, but also a lot of people have got a real problem with selling themselves, putting themselves out there, you know. And a lot of the work I do as well with people is helping them to get over what I call head trash, which is that stuff that is preventing them from taking
Head trash?
Head trash, yeah, that's what I kind of like, I land grabbed that term, so I came across that, I thought, hey, that really represents what I think it is, all that stuff in your head that really prevents
what kind of stuff,
you.
like?
Things like, you know, thoughts that you have that are stopping you from going ahead and doing something, you know, those beliefs that are holding you back. So, oh, I could never do that, or I'm going to fail, you know, that kind of stuff, which is just so damaging and toxic. Let's get rid of that stuff, you know, so that you can put yourself forward for that job promotion, or you are going to set up your business because you do believe you're going to succeed, you know. All those kind of thoughts can really, really hold you back. So I help, that's a huge part of the work I do with people, and a lot of it when it comes to selling yourself is around confidence, having self-belief, because if you don't believe in who you are and what you're capable of, then no one else will believe that either, and the belief has got to start with yourself, right?
And I don't think as well people are born with confidence. Sometimes it's a skill that you develop over time sometimes, and I know that the people that go through such terrible things and they do think they've lost their confidence completely, but there is something there still, because a lot of them manage to drag themselves back, don't they?
And some people have confidence in certain situations and not in others. So it's about trying to sort of pull that across into the situation where they don't have it, so they can tap into that confidence that they have got in certain scenarios. So, but that's in a really, you know, once you sort of flick the confidence switch in somebody and they just go, I mean, that's
there's no stopping them.
No, I love it. I love that part of my work. I love, you know.
So say a person now is in a position that they know who they are, they know what, you know, what they can sell about themselves. How would they, for example, sell themselves online? Well,
online, I think there's some really easy things that you can do online. You know, make sure that you've got a presence for a start, because a lot of people don't really engage a lot online. So, you know, get yourself a profile on some of those high traffic sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever is relevant for you, and make sure that when you do have that profile, that you're filling it out, you're putting a decent photograph of yourself, you know, not a photo of you on holiday or in your bikini or drunk at the office party, you know, a photo where you look really, really good, professionally taken, and that you're putting all the information there that they're asking for. And so that's just a no-win really, in terms of, you know, making sure that you do that. And other things that you can do online is sort of really take part in the conversation, you know, comment on people's blogs. Have a blog of your own, you know, sort of start putting content.
Is the commenting that important on other people's blogs, do you think?
It can be. Some people who don't have the confidence, or maybe they don't feel they can write, or they haven't got the commitment to maintain a blog, it's much easier for them to maybe comment on other people's blogs and have a reputation for always, you know, giving valued opinions on a certain subject matter.
Because I read a lot of blogs, but I don't normally comment, because it's like all that time thing. Got time to read it, but not really much time to comment. So.
But the thing is, if you just observe online, then you might as well not be there, because no one else knows that you're looking. You know, if somebody was sitting here with us and they just weren't saying anything, we'd know that they were there because we could see them. But
that's online, a really good point, actually.
In line, you can't. So if you don't actually put something out there, you might as well not be there, and so your effort is kind of going to waste. Yeah. So you need to make sure you take part and get involved in the conversation on Twitter. Chat to people. You know, I get some people saying, "Oh, I see you're doing this and that and this and that on Twitter." I was like, "Really, you know that? But you're not sort of making that known to me." So it feels a little bit creepy.
You're just following me. So what other things would you say, like, for example, on Facebook and Twitter, that you can do, like, to market yourself, apart from, say, maybe links to your blog and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Are people, like, interested, for example, in sort of your day-to-day things that you're doing, like personal things that you're doing, or do you think that should be something that you don't write about?
I think there's no real correct answer to this, but my view is I always think you should really give away a part of who you are, because people connect to the human part of you. You know, you can tell them about your fancy job title and the fact that you're going to present to this big fancy client and all that, you know, that sort of good stuff, which is a bit boring, really. You know, who cares? You kind of land this big client. Actually, what we want to know is, what's your favourite wine? That's how we might strike up a conversation, or the fact that we both share a passion for snowboarding, whatever it is. And it's on that basis that people might choose to work with you rather than somebody else, because qualifications are sort of, everybody has those, right?
Yeah.
And so that's not really the way that you can maybe stand out anymore. The way that you can stand out is by being you, and there's only one of you.
Yeah.
So if you can really bring you into what you do and make that part of the conversation, then that is why people will choose you.
People identify with you immediately.
Absolutely. So it's about trying to figure out how can you be present online by making sure that you are being you and authentic and real, because people respond to somebody who's got authenticity because they feel like they can trust them, and trust is such an important element of doing business today. Of, you know, we buy into brands because we trust them, because we know what they can be relied upon for, and the same goes for individuals. People will do business with you, people will hire you, people will get involved with you, engage with you if they trust you. So you need to be able to build that trust and make sure. I mean,
I do get bored with sort of tweets from companies that say, oh, we've just started our new seminar and it's just that and nothing else. But when it's true, when someone does post personal things, it's nice to read as well, and you identify with them.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your personal branding toolkit. I think we've got a minute left before the break.
Personal branding toolkit. So yeah, photos. Have a good set of photographs in your toolkit that you can use on all those profiles that you're going to have online. Have a really good bio as a starting point. So the bio is going to be like a personal summary that you can include on certain websites. But if you get an opportunity to talk somewhere, or you're going to, you know, maybe you're going to have a book coming out, then you're going to need a really good bio. And so having a bio written up that you can tweak at the last minute if you need to is really useful. You don't want to start writing it. It's like a CV. It takes a long time to write a good CV. You don't want to start writing it the day before you've got to get the job applied for. And having all those online profiles again takes time. So have a look at the ones you think are relevant for you.
Great. Okay, so Alexa, you're going to join us again later on, because after the break we've also got Justin Basini, our resident marketing expert, who's going to be imparting his wisdom on us as well. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, where we are speaking about how to sell yourself. And now I have with me Justin Basini, our resident marketing expert. And I forgot what you were just then. How are you?
I'm not marketing myself well enough, am I?
No.
I'm very well, very well. Yeah.
So you're going to talk about marketing yourself at work, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. So I used to run really big teams. And you know, when you go to work, what you want to do is you want to achieve stuff, right? You're there to do something. And I always remember I used to go to everybody in my team and I used to say, so what are you here to do? What are you going to do in 2 or 3 years' time? You know, what are your goals? And at least half the people would go, oh, I don't know, haven't really thought about that, right? And so that's the first thing you've got to do. If you want to achieve stuff at work, you've got to set yourself some goals. So we talked in the first part about maybe that's getting a promotion, maybe that's getting a pay rise, maybe that's getting into a different type of job. It might be leaving your current job and finding a job that you would prefer. But you've got to set out those goals, and that's really, really one of the first things that you need to do if you're going to really start to market yourself at work, because you need to know what you're doing.
Why do you think people don't set themselves goals?
Because I think we get into ruts, don't we? Go to work every day, you know, maybe we're not that happy and we're just sort of going through life the whole time. And I think what we need to do is we need to really think about, take a step back, a bit like we were talking about in the first half, you know, take a step back and think about what are we here to do? What do we want to achieve? What's going to make us happy? And that's the really important thing.
As well, because if people do get into this, because they're not using their head, they're not thinking about their life or their future or anything, they're just sort of just taking each day as it comes, and that's when life can get really boring as well. It's
boring and you're just plodding. And nobody likes to feel like you're just plodding, you're just in one place, just doing the same thing every day. So the thing you've got to do is you've got to set those goals. And then once you've set those goals, the second thing to do is to really, I spend a lot of time talking to people about this, which is trying to assess the type of place that you work in. So some people work in, you know, if you work in a bank, for example, if you go to the city every day, and it's a really go-getting type place, you know, everybody's in their power suits and they're going, you know, and they're really like egotistical and they're, you know, big.
Those kind of environments.
Those sort of places, right? Other people work in sort of more gentle environments, you know, where it's more team-based, etc. Other people work in places where, you know, it's all about the work, you know, and putting in the hours and doing really, really great work. But you've got to understand the type of place that you work in, because the reality is you don't want to be a round peg in a square hole. You know, if you're in a place, you know, if you're going to a bank every day and you're turning up, you know, without your power suit on, you know, if you're going in your jeans and t-shirt and everybody else is in their power suits, it's not going to help you, right? And so you've really got to assess where you are, what you're doing, and try and get yourself into an environment. Or you need to say to yourself, well, I need to change what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do need to play the game. You know, unfortunately, we would all love to work in a place that really suits us as individuals, but sometimes that doesn't happen, does it?
It's not
so you've got to play the game. You've got to say, no, this is the sort of image that I need to project. And I know we're going to talk about image a little bit later. That's the sort of image that I need to project. And so you need to be able to know what is going to be really successful, because this is all about, in any job, whatever you want to do, it's all about impressing the people above you, right? Your bosses, your teammates, your boss's boss, so that they know that you're going to achieve stuff. And
some
you've got
people are
goals.
stuck in their ways, aren't they? So they say, this is who I am, this is the way I like to dress. Okay, fair enough, I do agree with people being themselves, but at the same time, I think people also have to be adaptable, flexible, and they should, you know, change is for good as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and you can learn in lots of different places. You know, what I'm not saying is, you know, you have to stay in a place that you don't really like, or you feel like you have to, you know, be somebody else. But then your goal needs to be trying to get into a job, trying to get into a company where you are going to feel comfortable. And so that's setting yourself a goal, and then you need to be able to plan to actually get to that goal. And that's the last thing that I would say, which is you've got to set yourself a marketing plan. So this is all about selling yourself, this is all about marketing yourself, and you need to set up a really good marketing plan. And marketing plans are all about 4 things. The first thing is, who's your target audience? So who is the decision maker on your goal? That's the key thing you've got to ask. So if it's trying to get a promotion, maybe it's your boss. You need to impress your boss so that he'll give you that, or she'll give you that promotion. So you need to really understand, what is your boss looking for. And so what you're doing there is classic marketing for yourself. You're selling yourself. You're understanding who your target audience is and what you need to sell them.
Do you think it's a good idea to actually ask your boss, like, or do you think that's a bit sort of forward?
No, I think it's a great thing to do. You know, most people are too shy, I think, at work. They sort of get a bit embarrassed. You know, you were talking about it, you know, we're all a bit sort of hide our light under a bushel. You know, we don't really like to ask for a promotion or ask for a pay. Oh, asking for a pay rise, how do I ask for it? You know,
I'll send an email.
Right, much better that you go in there and you're confident, because people respond well to confident people. And the more confident that you can present yourself as, even if your knees are knocking and you're not feeling that confident, trying to go in and take a deep breath and go in and project that image. You know, generally companies, bosses, they like that. They like people who set themselves goals and are going to go forward and, you know, try and achieve stuff and do better work.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen at the end of the day? Say no? Well,
exactly. And if you don't ask, you're never going to get it, right?
That's right.
So it's a no-lose situation. You might as well go in and actually, you know, ask and say what you want and say, yeah, I want that promotion. Because what is your boss going to think? Your boss is going to only think, oh, well, they're confident. They're wanting to, you know, get onto that next step. And that's what we're all about doing, trying to sell ourselves, trying to project that image of success and what we want to achieve.
Although I do have to say, though, I think the person has to kind of, in a way, deserve that promotion as well. So if, like, it's someone that's going to work late every day, not really putting in the proper hours, messing around and stuff, that's I don't think that person has the right to actually go in and ask for promotion. But if you know that you're doing your best, you know, you're really trying hard, you're really, you know, not just doing it to impress the boss, say, but you actually care about the work that you're doing and you care about maybe the company as well. I think that's going to also show.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But the worst situation is when you're doing all that stuff, you're doing the extra hours, you're working really, really hard, you're taking some stress on, and nobody's recognising it. Because you're, you know, sitting at the back and nobody really knows, and you're just those, you know, that quiet person who does all the work but never gets the recognition.
So you should definitely go for it.
So, you know, you've got to go and present yourself to get the recognition that you deserve.
And that's going to give you the confidence to go and do it, because you know you've been working hard. But
Exactly
if you know you haven't, if you know every day you're in late and all that stuff, you're not going to have the confidence to go and talk to anyone about
promotion.
No, and
even if you do.
Or if you do, really cheeky.
Yeah, and hopefully your boss, that's your boss's job, right? Your boss's job is to know that you don't deserve it, and somebody who actually is working really hard actually does deserve it. But there are a lot of cases where the former is true, because the people who are really, really working hard, you know, do sit at the back and they don't push themselves forward. So you've got to get the recognition that you deserve, and that's the key. That's the other thing that I would say is you've got to realise that you deserve it. Nobody's going to look after you better than you. You know, I have this all the time when I was talking to people in my team. You know, when they talk about training or development plans or where they want to get to, and I'm like, well, is that my responsibility as your boss to get you there, or is that your responsibility? And actually, a lot of people think, oh, well, the company will look after me, or my boss will look after me, or whatever. Might be true, but you've also got to take responsibility for your own career and where you want to get to. And if you want that training course, you've got to go ask for it.
See, most people would think that's no-no area. That, you know, how can I go and ask for the training? That's not my place to go and do that. But it's true, you should do it. You should do it.
But that's again, you know, one of the things that if you think that when you go in, it's almost like when you ask for that promotion or when you ask for that pay rise or you ask for that training course, you're telling yourself the company is doing me a favour. My boss is doing me a favour. If he puts me on that or she puts me on that training course, they're doing me a favour. No. You are working harder. You are going to get more training. You are going to get better at your job. You're doing them a favour. And you've got to have that mentality when you go into that meeting. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to get what you want.
That's such an interesting way of looking at things, isn't it? It's so true.
That's right. You go to work to do them a favour, right? You're giving them 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day to get their business done, right? So you need to remember that when you go in and you have those conversations with them.
As I was thinking, because sometimes I've spoken about this on the programme before, about when people go for interviews and they're so nervous. And I always say to people, look, even though you're going for an interview, but it's for you to see if that company is right for you as well. So you have a right to ask questions. Don't go in there all sort of nervous and thinking, oh, you know, am I going to get this job? Okay, they're going to see if you're suitable, but it also works the other way around as well.
That's right.
So that you should have that confidence in yourself. Say, okay, you know, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to see if this place is right for me and what this place can do for me as well, rather than just the other way around.
That's
which
right.
is the mentality. A lot of people go into interviews like that.
Yeah, and if they're making a decision about you, then the other thing to think is that if the job doesn't go in your favour, so if you don't get the job, then they've done a good job of making sure that you're not going to be in a situation where you're not going to succeed. You know, instead of internalising it on yourself and thinking, oh, I'm terrible and I didn't get that job and I did really badly, which makes you feel really unconfident and you're just going into your shell, you need to think, no, I'm good enough, they've made a decision. I don't mind what their decision is, it wasn't the right job for me anyway. If they didn't give me the job, then it wasn't the right job for me anyway, and you go and find the next job.
Exactly.
And that's how you get into setting goals and keeping the cycle going, where you keep your self-esteem up, because that's what we're talking about. How much do you believe in yourself, and how confident are you?
Have you always been confident?
Have I what?
Always been confident? Or
yeah, I've always
I like to ask personal questions.
I've always been quite confident. I don't think I've been. I think I've grown in confidence as you know, as I've got older.
Yeah.
And I think that's because I've got to know who I am a lot more. You know, and what's important to me.
Okay.
And I used to think a lot about, you know, oh, the company, I want this out of the company, or I want this out of a job. And you know, when I ask for things, they're doing me a favour. And then I started working for a bank, and banks are very selfish places, and they taught me that I was working bloody hard, but I was working for them. You know, I was working hard for them, right? And anything they gave me, like training or anything like that, was to make me work harder so that I would do a better job for them.
I'm sure that's helped loads of people, Justin, honestly. But you're going to stay with us, because after the break, we're going to be talking about images because Joanna also went to an image consultant as well, and we're going to see what happened after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show. Always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, as I mentioned before the break, Joanna went along to see Toshiko, an image consultant from Talking Image, and here's what happened.
I've come all the way to a place called Talking Image to meet with an image consultant called Toshiko. She's going to show me different ways to improve my outer appearance. Hi Toshiko.
Hi.
Joanna.
Oh, welcome to Talking Image. I'm Toshiko. Come on in.
Now, everybody knows that your outer appearance says a lot about you and your personality. So today, Toshiko is going to show me ways to improve my outer appearance. So what can we expect from the session today?
With this image consultation, I'll start off by covering color analysis. Now, what this is to find out what sort of color tones or color shades will actually complement you, making sure you look healthy and well, because anybody can wear any color, but we want to make sure you look good. And then after that, we'll go into the styling session, where I will analyze your bone structure, finding out what sort of bone structure you have, and then analyze each part of your body to make sure that it's in balance so that you can make the best of yourself. The three color characteristics we're going to find out is the depth, undertone, and clarity. With the depth, if you're going to wear one color, monotone, in a large portion of your body, like wearing a coat or long dress, which would create balance with your natural colorings. The second color characteristic is the undertone. Now this is more based on the skin tone, because there's 3 layers in the skin. What we see is the outer layer, epidermis, but if we were to peel that off, that's dermis. That's what's affecting this undertone. And this clarity will identify, for instance, in this chart, blue, a really vibrant blue, which you mentioned that you're not really keen on, but perhaps it might look good on you. Yes, or maybe muted, more subtle colors. It's best to be complimented as, oh, you look fabulous, Joanna, rather than like, I love your shoes. But can you see this kind of washes you out, especially if you're going to wear it in a bigger picture?
So based on my natural skin tone color and my hair color, my depth is deep, undertone is warm, and clarity is muted.
But isn't this the color that you're wearing today?
Is it?
So, if you look at here on the left, Princess Diana, her shoulders and the hips are more or less the same. Yeah. So that means that she has a straight body line. The other end is Marilyn Monroe. As you can see, it's very curvaceous, but if you compare the shoulders and the hips, her hips are wider than her shoulders. Okay? Can't really do anything about it, that's her bone structure. So her body line is called curved. The middle one here is Halle Berry, and so her body line is called semi-straight.
Semi-straight.
Yes. So the overall look, she would look good in a straight silhouette, but she does need to show off her waist because that's one of her assets.
I think I am Halle Berry, but
okay.
see whether that's right.
Yeah, okay, let's see if you're right or not. I think you're Marilyn Monroe. Okay. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see it now, yeah. Why is it so important for people to understand their bone structure and what looks good on them?
Well, for one, from a practical point, it's good when you go shopping, you don't have to get confused with buying the wrong clothes. It might look good on other people, but you want to make sure that you bring out the best of yourself. It will make you feel confident, you'll feel more yourself at ease. And by doing this consultation, hopefully you've understood what your assets are, what you are all about, and you want to feel good about yourself. And it's a way of communicating without even explaining to people who you are.
And as for my makeup, you have kept it really natural, but it really lifts my face up. It makes me look radiant. And why do you want to keep it natural?
Oh, well, for one, you said you don't wear too much makeup, and I didn't want to kind of shock you with really thick makeup. And actually, you don't need to because you've got lovely skin. And you want, again, I wanted to accentuate your assets.
Thank you so much, Toshiko. So I've learned a lot about myself today, from understanding what color suits me, what kind of outfit suits me, and ways to enhance my assets. So for those of you who are confused about, what color should I go for, what kind of outfit should I wear, whether this is right or wrong for me, I would say definitely Toshiko is the lady for you. And so do visit Talking Image, so get in touch.
Thank you very much, the radiant Joanna there. So, image is crucial, isn't it, when you're trying to sell yourself, because you might have all the skills and all the qualifications and everything like that, but if you look rubbish and you don't make much of an effort on the outside, people aren't going to take you seriously.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the thing that's really important that you mentioned in there is it's really, again, it's about accentuating your assets, and you need to know what you're trying to accentuate. Yeah. So it's really important to know who you are again, isn't it?
Everyone has something nice. Even if a person thinks, look, I look in the mirror and I think I'm really ugly and I've got nothing going for me, that's not true. Everyone has something nice that you can accentuate. You might not have, for example, might not be really slim, for example, but you have other nice features. Everyone's got something, haven't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Justin's really quiet with this one.
I think it's all about, I've never had a kind of colour consultation or anything like that, but but I think you're surprised.
Should get you one.
But I think it's all about giving yourself confidence.
Yeah.
And so if you've done something like that, or you've really thought about, the way that you're projecting yourself and the way that you look, it's all about that process of making you feel fantastic about yourself. Yeah. And if you feel fantastic about yourself, you're much more likely to be confident and to be outgoing and to get the things that you want in your career or wherever you are. And that's the most important thing, I think. It's not necessarily about how you look, it's about what you feel inside.
That's right. And I know sometimes people, I'll talk from a woman's point of view, like when you're having a bad hair day, for example, or you don't sort of feel like sort of doing anything, or you're maybe it's that time of the month and you don't feel like doing anything, you just want to sort of stay in bed. But then if you stay in that state, you're just going to make yourself feel worse. But if you actually get up, have a nice shower, put some makeup on, do your hair, it actually makes you feel a lot better, and you get over that kind of state of almost depression because of the way you feel. But you won't know about that, Justin, but it's fine. But tell us what you do know about image.
What do I know about image? So I think as I was saying in the previous bit, it's all about matching your image and who you are, and understanding what you want to project with the environment that you're in as well. So if you do have a boss who is, often people talk about mirroring, so if you mirror somebody, following what they do and trying, not being inauthentic and not being dishonest, but it's all about trying to connect. And so you can connect with the way that you look and the image that you project, and also some of your mannerisms and the way that you conduct yourself, so that you connect with that person, so that you've got a greater chance of getting what you want. And that's what selling is all about, really.
And I think the other part as well, it's how you hold yourself. It's when you give a handshake, it's that firm handshake. It's the confidence that comes through from the way that you hold your body, the language that you speak as well, in terms of the words, and whether you speak fast or slow, or the accent that you might have. It's all that stuff that creates the first impression. It's not just your clothes as well. So, your hair, it's also the accessories that you have. So, the phone that you might have, you might say, oh, I'm really modern, I'm into the latest tech, and your mobile phone's got an aerial. It's like, well, it can't be if it has, You've got to walk your walk, haven't you? Yeah. So you need to make sure that all the other touch points that you have line up and kind of add up to build up this image of this impression you want to create.
Okay. Now, Justin, you had a couple more points, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think it's all about trying to find out what is holding you back. So in your goals and thinking about your marketing plan and trying to achieve and sell what you want to sell, you need to think about what are the things that are holding you back. So that might be image, it might be the way you look, it might be the way you feel about the way that you look. It also might be your own motivation. So if you are stuck in that rut, and you're going to work every day and it's a slog and you feel depressed about it, that's going to radiate at work really, really, it's going to colour everything that you do. So you need to think about that, and you need to, again, start to bring yourself out of that. It might be your skills, and so all the things that we talked about trying to get the right training, educating yourself. So you talked about reading blogs and things like that. So, there's a huge amount of stuff online now that you can teach yourself for free, so that you can start to educate yourself, start to get the skills that you need in order to achieve those goals. So it's all about, what I'm saying is, trying to set those goals, trying to think about where you are and what job you're in, and then trying to think about the gaps that you have. Is it my image? Is it the relationship I have with my boss? Is it my motivation? And then setting a plan to actually make sure that you are better placed to actually go and achieve your goals. And anybody can achieve their goals. You've just got to have the right mental attitude, and you've got to have the right plan. And getting the plan is half the battle.
And Alexia, you were saying as well, I know, you know, the problem that you had and like losing your mum and everything. But do you think that anyone can gain confidence even no matter what they've been through?
Yes. And the work
And
that
you
I
say
do,
that very confidently.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, the work I do, the head trash work I do, we use the technique called reflective repatterning, which is really powerful in getting people to get their confidence back. And you know, just in the work that I do, the results that I get to see, that's what gives me confidence to be able to say that, because I know it can be done. You know, it's not something that if you don't have it, you'll never have it. You know what? It can be sorted. So why not just sort it?
I really believe that as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I know there's people watching that are thinking, you know what, not me. I like sort of watching you guys, and like you guys are confident, and I just don't see myself being in that position. But you can be. But you just, first of all, I think you have to believe it first for yourself, that it can. It's a possibility that you can change and you can be confident. And then from there, then you start to get help, because there's plenty of organisations that are out there to help. There's our guests tonight as well. Their details are on the website as well, so you can check it out and see for yourself. Well, we have finished this part. Thank you so much for everything, for all the lovely advice that you've given our guests tonight. And afterwards, after this break, actually, we have Chris Brown with the Self-Development Clinic. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, and now we have our Self-Development Clinic with Chris Brown. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
Oh, very good today. Very good today. I was we were talking about earlier on building yourself up and your self-esteem, and from getting a job as well, and getting a bit of direction. But also a bit of direction. We're talking about leadership in different ways to actually lead and build up your self-esteem and realize what makes a good leader, what makes a poor leader. What do we actually follow? Now, in saying that, I took some quotes which I've actually got here. And I'll have a little bit of fun with this. And you tell me, which one do you think you'd prefer in a leadership instead? Right, number one, right? If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Okay, hold on to that one. I'll say it again.
Say it again, please.
If your actions inspire others to dream more, do more, learn more, and become more, you are a leader. Hold that one in head.
Okay.
Right, number two. The key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority. The key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. I'm going to mention that. That's from John C. Maxwell. Buy everything John C. Maxwell books. Right? Okay, good. But that's be influential. I shouldn't have said that. Right. Management is doing the right things. Leadership is doing things right. Right. Can you recall out those four?
Not the fourth one.
Okay.
And before you actually mentioned, I quite like the third one.
You like the third one?
Yeah.
A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way.
Yeah, because I believe a leader should lead by example.
Right. Okay. It's funny because, as I said, John C. Maxwell, I actually took that out myself as well. Leader needs to actually know the way to show the way as well at the same time. I mean, we've got here the key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority at the same time. Now, there are two ways of leading. There are many ways of leading, to be honest. But when we look at those, and the one you picked out is the one you actually follow after instead. Now, I was actually doing a bit of research, and we went to Kuzo and Posner, and we're looking at different stages of leadership. And we're talking about, first one, we was talking about, it's a model with 4 areas on it, and we're talking about challenge the process. Now, challenging the process, we're looking at, well, we've got a set of principles. Say like you're in a company. You're not going to go in there and challenge everything and tear it all down and take it all apart. What you're going to look at is a way that you can actually evolve and make this better than what it is already. Now, in doing that, of course you're going to spark things off. Now, if you're that sort of person, innate nature to actually do this and challenge the actual process of what you're actually doing, right? And marking it and realizing, well, look, this is something we can do in a better way. We can turn it inside out and progress. That's going to be pretty good in that sense, right? So we're talking about challenge the process. And from there, we're talking about inspire the shared vision. To be able to actually inspire others and get them on the same side, you've got a vision and you want to take those people with you to that vision. Now, if you can inspire them instead of telling them, look, this is what we should do and that's the way to do it, that's not really good leadership. But to actually inspire someone to think, yes, we want to go ahead and do this, is great. Inspired,
you don't get any respect
vision.
if you do it the other way, do you?
You don't.
People respect you when they see that you're leading by example and then they want to follow what you do.
They want to follow what you do, and if they know what the end goal is as well.
Yeah.
If that end goal involves them in it, you're onto the right track. If that end goal doesn't involve them, it's just a matter of get there, we got to do this, we got to do this, got to do this. You'll find that people will find their own ways instead and go different directions along the way. So it doesn't make for good leadership in that sense, right? And then we've got enabling others to act. Now, enabling others to act, the worst thing you want, let's put it back to the whole thing of company and work. And you've got, you've trusted your employees to a certain extent, but you're always looking over their shoulder, making sure they do it right. Have they done this right? Have they done that right? Is this right? Da, 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 da. That's not actually enabling somebody to act. Enabling somebody to act is to actually give someone the skills, the tools to actually move ahead, trust them to go out there and do it. Enabling them, making them independent to act. Okay, and then we've got model the way, which is much to the one you actually liked, where it says, what was it? A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way and shows the way, right? So model the way. They've got to be the example so that others will actually follow their example to go the way. Right? And in doing that, they've actually got to know what they're talking about. They've got to know what they're doing instead. Not a matter of saying, well, look, this is the way we do it. They've got to have a reason and a purpose why. That goes back to that shared vision that people will follow. Then we've got encourage the heart. Encourage the heart.
What does that mean?
Yes, very interesting one, that one. Encourage the heart. Human beings naturally like praise. No matter how many of them says, oh no, I don't like praise, I don't like praise, even those who shove it, yeah, well, I was all right at doing this, but inside is going, yeah, that was all right, yeah. So human beings like praise, so you've got to actually give that praise to that individual who's doing something right in that sense, right? To encourage them along the way. So what you're doing is encouraging the heart. So they're going to be self-motivated to actually do even better and receive that praise at the same time. So overall, we're talking about, well, 5 areas here, right, which would make for a better leadership. Now, leadership sometimes is looked upon as like, well, this is the person that's leading, that's the person you follow, and that's that. That will only run for a short time. You'll find that others will start resenting it. You'll find people thinking of other ideas. They'll probably say yes in front of you, and then after think, well, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way she said that. I think we should do it this way and that way. But if you're actually with them, working together as a team, back to what we talked about before, as a team, and then the leadership would evolve through that, having that vision to go ahead and set goals.
Do you know about the positive sandwich? Have you heard of that?
Tell us.
So something that we learned like ages ago when I was at uni, actually.
Right.
I don't know if they still talk about it now, but when it was mainly to do with that when you have like, forgotten what those things are called, those meetings that you have. What are those meetings called that you have all the time with the employees to see how they're doing?
Appraisals.
Appraisals, that's it. And they're saying that a positive sandwich, you begin with, say like you've got the two slices of bread in the filling in the middle. So you start with something positive. So, oh, you know, you've been here this time and you've done really well in this and this. Then you go to the negative stuff. But I feel you could do better in this area and develop this area more. But overall, you're doing something really great and I believe in your potential and stuff like that. So you're not just sort of picking out, you have to address the negative things, obviously, because you can't, a good leader is always actually helping employees and helping people to recognise where they need to change, because you can't avoid that in any way. But you're putting it between a sandwich of positive things as well. So you don't hurt the person and make them feel bad about themselves as well.
And that actually fits in with encouraging the heart. That actually fits in because
I didn't know that. We didn't plan this.
Well, it's brilliant. I know, that's great. Because to give someone an appraisal or to give someone a criticism, it goes the opposite as well. Sometimes someone criticised pretty sensitive towards it. Now, if you did that sandwich and you didn't put that bottom bit underneath, that person could be just with that middle filling, which we said, well, might not be negative, but to them they might have taken it negative. It might be really they're not doing well in that area. So that actually fits in with encouraging the heart, and it's very important. The sandwich.
Definitely. Okay, so Chris, thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you very much, Chrissy.
All right, so we have reached the end of the show for today. But remember, you know, if you are feeling a bit down about yourself, you don't feel very confident, as we said before, anyone can gain confidence. Ask for help if you need it. If you want to email me, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv, and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction as well. So we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.